So we're gonna choose what? Set up new iPhone? I didn't do anything. How cool is that? Oh my god! Wow. So, okay. Connecting, finish on new iPhone. Holy cow, that is super fast. Continue. Oh, it's even copying my Apple Wallet cards. That's pretty cool. And Apple, what kind of crap is this? So for sure, this phone doesn't have enough memory, but I cannot go back. I have to reset the phone and try again? What the hell? This was actually so cool until this point. Hey guys, Steven here. Welcome back to another video. So I really hope that you liked my quick unboxing. I think unboxings are actually kind of useless, so I tried to keep it as short as possible. Anyway, here's the brand new iPhone SE, and actually I wanted to skip the phone as I thought, well, this is trash. But then I got quite curious about the phone as it's very simple. So it's the most simple phone ever. It actually has some pretty impressive hardware inside, and it's cheaper. Now, I wouldn't say it's cheap or a budget phone, as 480 euros with tax here in Europe is not something I would classify as cheap or as a budget phone. Anyhow, I think for an iPhone it's a really good price, and today in this video I'll also compare it with my iPhone 11 Pro, which I'm rocking since January this year. And I'm not using an iPhone as my main phone. I'm using the P40 Pro as my main phone, but I still think that it's good to also use an iPhone because you can do some comparisons with applications. Some things, to be really honest here, do work better on an iPhone. Some apps really work better on an iPhone. Some apps do work better on Android, but this is why I actually carry two phones. Now anyway, today in this video we'll take a closer look at the iPhone SE, the new one, and compare it with the iPhone 11 Pro. So let's go. Alright, now there we go guys. So well, before we compare the iPhone SE with the iPhone 11 Pro, let's maybe have a closer look at the phone itself. So well, as you can see, here is it. I've bought the red version because I think it looks really gorgeous. It's still a little bit of a fingerprint magnet here on the backside, but well, it looks really fantastic. I really love the red and clean look. If you take a closer look, you can actually see that it says here product red on there, and they donate something for coronavirus research or whatever I did read on the website. Now, how much did I pay? I actually paid 480 euros. You don't get anything from YouTube, from Apple as a YouTuber, unless you have like millions of subscribers. So bought this with my own money. Same for the iPhone 11 Pro. Now, well, as you can see, we have a single camera here on the backside. Now, single camera in 2020 is something you don't see very often, but actually this camera is not too bad. We don't have Face ID on the new iPhone, but still very huge bezels, and there is no point to have such big bezels here at the top. Now at the bottom we have Touch ID, so that for sure you need some more bezels, but also you could actually work something out here with a little bit more screen. But anyhow, they decided to just take the design from 2015 and just modify it a little bit. Now we don't have a headphone jack on the phone, same like on the iPhone 11 Pro, so you have to use the headphones from Apple or Bluetooth headphones. Nothing here at the top. On the right side, the power button and the SIM tray. On the left side, the volume buttons and the handy iPhone silent mode button here. Alright, so very simple. Now there is not really much to talk about. The display is 4.7 inches. It's actually looking really good. I love the viewing angles. They are really top notch. Now the peak brightness, it's really good, no problem reading it outdoors. And the colors, I just simply love the colors of the display on an iPhone. It just looks really good, really on point saturation, very colorful, and it looks pretty amazing. Now, if you compare this to the iPhone 11 Pro, well, the iPhone SE is definitely thinner. The iPhone 11 Pro is really heavy. The first time when I picked this up, I was like, oh my god, Apple, are you serious? That is just unbelievable heavy. And if you put a case on it, it's a really huge phone. Trust me guys, the iPhone 11 Pro is huge. The iPhone SE is definitely something, well, as you see, I have pretty big hands. And for one reason, I cannot use the iPhone SE, and this is when I have to type something, because then I really have to cross my fingers. And if you check this out here, like, hello guys. I mean, I can type, but I don't want to type like that. It's really a pain. The iPhone 11 Pro, well, I got used to it to type on it, but still, it's it's a little bit small. But the iPhone SE, definitely if you have very big hands, well, try it out. I mean, you can send the iPhone back just as I will do, and yeah, give it a try. Now, well, let's compare a few of the specifications. Well, we have the same processor as in the iPhone 11 Pro in there. That means it is really fast. Even though I got some different scores and benchmarks, still I have to say it doesn't matter what you play or what you game or whatever you do on that phone, this phone is actually really fast and snappy. And another benefit is, because it has the same processor, you know, the iPhone updates will also be the same like on the iPhone 11 Pro, so I don't think they make any difference here because they only stop delivering iPhone updates when actually the hardware is too slow. But as you have the same performance like in the iPhone 11 Pro, you can expect software updates for the same lifetime, which makes the iPhone SE definitely a good choice. Okay, we said a lot of good things about the iPhone SE, but there is something I need to mention, and Apple! Are you serious, you greedy bastards? This is a 5-watt charger. I mean, it's really cool that this phone supports wireless charging. But to be honest, with such a small battery, I want to get some fast charging times. And you including a 5-watt wireless charging. I mean, 480 euros. Okay, I get it. It's the cheapest iPhone. But that doesn't mean that you can cheap out on accessories that are literally $2 in production in China. I mean, no offense, guys, but this is honestly a joke. Now well, Touch ID versus Face ID. So let's try Face ID, and there we go. As you can see, phone is unlocked, swipe to unlock. Now here, Touch ID, scanner works also good. So it really comes down to what you prefer. Actually, I was a big fan of Touch ID and I hated Face ID in the beginning. But after I got used to Face ID, I don't want to go back because it's so convenient. If the fingerprint scanner is dirty, sometimes Touch ID doesn't work that good. Face ID mostly works good. Just if the camera is very dirty, it doesn't work, or if you have sunglasses or in the bed under the bed sheet. But I have to say Face ID is doing a really good job. But Touch ID is really nice because it gives you this cool feeling with the vibration feedback of Touch ID when you do something. I think I kinda like both, so it really comes down to personal preference. Now what I don't really like is that you have such a huge bezel, but there is no reason for that. On the iPhone 11 Pro you have a bunch of sensors for Face ID, but here you don't have Face ID, you have a very basic front-facing camera. Well, why can't you actually make the display a little bit larger, which would be more 2020 than 2015. But still, I have to say, I kinda like the design of the iPhone SE, even though it has pretty huge bezels everyone is complaining about. And I'm pretty sure for most of the people, this is actually not a reason to not buy it. Alright, as I see it right now, low battery on the iPhone 11 Pro. So on the iPhone 11 Pro, you see it's now 8 PM. I rarely manage to get a full day. On the iPhone SE, it's the same problem. But I've heard people in other reviews saying that it's better than the iPhone 8, what I do definitely think, because the new processor is more power optimized, it's a very small screen. And yeah, you actually get a better battery life than on the iPhone 8. But in general, iPhones for me, they don't last that long. So I really have to re-choose in the evening, like 8 or 8:30 every day, because I'm a very, let's say power user, heavy user, I'm just phone addicted. Now, if you really care about really good battery life, then don't get an iPhone at all. But if you can live with some average battery life, well, then both phones are actually quite great. And even though the iPhone SE has a smaller battery, it also has a smaller display. It has some less features and, well, that means it doesn't consume that much power as this thing. But what is the main reason why people buy an iPhone? And I would say it's first of all the OS, because, well, most of the apps work really great on an iPhone. I have to say I'm a big Android fanboy, but I give props here to Apple. They have that ecosystem for such a long time, and it doesn't matter which app I pick, if it's some of my Tesla applications because I drive a Model 3, they all just work better than on an Android phone. And for sure you can use them on an Android phone, but sometimes there are simply bugs on Google, and on Apple, I don't know, for some reason, it is just working better. But also sometimes apps on Android are working better. But I have to say, most of the time, apps on an iPhone, there is no problem with that. But is there actually a difference in the OS? Well, actually, in the OS itself, not really. In the functions of the camera, well, yes, but as you can see, you just have to swipe up here to get to the control center. On the iPhone 11 Pro, you have to swipe down here or to get here to the notifications. Well, on the iPhone SE, you just swipe down and you got the notifications just like on the older iPhones. It is rocking the same version of the latest iOS, so that's actually pretty good. And both phones are super snappy and fast. You can game on both phones the same way. I mean in terms of performance, not in terms of the display, but really in terms of performance you don't need to worry about the iPhone SE. But what about the camera? Is a single camera actually enough in 2020? Well, to be honest, if I would give this phone to my mother or to my dad or to any of the a little bit older people which are not that active on social media, they would immediately take it. Now, for me, I'm a YouTuber. I do also right now TikTok, Instagram, and it's really handy to have different lenses to get a different look of your device, to get a different angle of the shot. And you can get really amazing pictures here with the single camera, but you have so much more flexibility if you have a phone with multiple lenses. Now, I don't say that the iPhone SE camera is bad, but you're a bit more limited and have to move around a little bit more to get a good looking shot, and you cannot get some of the shots which you can get on the iPhone 11 Pro. Now, when it comes to regular pictures, I have to say the iPhone SE is very close to the iPhone 11 Pro, lacks a little bit though in dynamic range and detail, but still it's very hard sometimes to tell the difference between pictures shot with the regular camera. If I choose a different lens on the iPhone 11 Pro, for sure you see the difference. Now when it comes to portrait, well, portraits are better actually on the iPhone 11 Pro. It also has the second lens to zoom in to give you a little bit more depth, and actually I prefer portraits on the iPhone 11 Pro, to be really honest here. But you can also get some pretty good portraits from the iPhone SE. There is actually no problem with that. The only real difference where you notice that, it's actually a problem most iPhones have, it's when it deals with artificial light. When I take a picture of the light source from LEDs or from my computer, it looks very blurry on all iPhones. On my Huawei P40 Pro, for instance, as you can see, crystal clear. Now, this is something I've just noticed, also night mode. Now, the iPhone 11 Pro has a good night mode that is working fine, but on the iPhone SE you don't have a night mode. So, yeah, when there is low light, actually, some pictures could turn out a little bit dark, a little bit washed out. So the night mode with the long exposure on the iPhone 11 Pro definitely helps here a little bit. What I think is really amazing is that the iPhone SE supports 4K 60. Now, if you remember, most of the Android phones couldn't actually shoot 4K 60 for a long time, and now you get it in an iPhone, and a cheap iPhone. That's actually pretty good. However, if you want to shoot in HDR, you can only do that in 4K 30 on the iPhone SE, but that's only a limitation that is not very problematic for me. I think having 4K 60 in the iPhone SE is absolutely amazing. Other than that, you will find the same features in the camera application. Now, the shutter time, processing time of the pictures is pretty much the same, as it's the same processor. And I have to say, I'm actually really satisfied with a single camera. But due to my use online, so that I'm a YouTuber, that I really like to have different lenses in my pocket, the iPhone 11 Pro is actually my go-to choice. Now, some people have asked me about the speaker, and to be honest, I don't really notice a big difference. I feel like the iPhone 11 Pro has maybe a little bit more bass, but you know, it's very hard to tell. So I will just play back a song on both smartphones and record it with my pretty good microphone, the Sennheiser MKH416. So listen for yourself. There you go. Alrighty, so that was just a very quick comparison between both of the phones. Now, speaker quality, well, we don't have to compare that. They are iPhones, they have really good call quality. The display, well, due to this is not a regular standard, actually when you watch movies, when you zoom in, you will actually see the notch. For sure, you don't have that on the iPhone SE. This really comes down to personal preference, what you prefer, but you do get a larger display on the iPhone 11 Pro. I actually love more the iPhone 11 Pro, but also I've noticed right now during the benchmark, both phones get pretty warm compared to Android phones. The iPhone SE right over here, probably there's a chipset, and the iPhone 11 Pro right over here. So yeah, actually they do really get quite warm, to be honest. Now, all in all, really good phones, but let's do a quick comparison between Android phones. Now, well, what we have right over here is the Google Pixel 4, and now it's almost the same price in Europe. It's slightly more expensive, around 50 euros, but actually if you compare that, very similar form factor, also okay performance. Now, for sure, an iPhone compared to an Android phone, it's a comparison you cannot win. The Android phone is definitely slower in the benchmarks, but the Google Pixel 4 is really a good performer. Both have 64 gigabytes. Pixel 4 dual camera, iPhone single camera. Well, we don't have a headphone jack either on both of them. Type-C, Apple Lightning. And yeah, you have definitely more features and a bigger display on the Pixel, which makes it very hard for me to say, oh, this is the budget phone you have to buy, because there are also Android phones that are similar, both from a huge monopole company that will provide you with updates for quite a long time. Just got an update today on the Pixel, so it's doing really good. And both phones are actually quite good phones from really good companies. So I wouldn't say that the iPhone is the only phone that will last you for a very long time when you buy it, because there are also companies like the Pixel. Now, what I really like about iPhones is just simply Apple Pay. Now, you've maybe seen some other videos from me where I've shown you Apple Pay, and it's simply so convenient. What I mostly use is Boon. Apple Pay is not fully supported by all the banks. I use Boon as a workaround that works really good. Boon has now also launched a new app which is called Boon Planet. Boon Planet is actually a pretty cool way in Germany if you want to get an online bank, so you can check it out. I will leave you some links down below, but Apple Pay is just very convenient. Now, Google Pay is still not really 100% working in most of the countries as well, Austria for an example. So this is why I actually sometimes really love an iPhone, but with the Google Pixel you also get all the services you have on an iPhone. You get Google Pay, which is similar to Apple Pay, you get cloud storage like iCloud, and yeah, I wouldn't say that the iPhone is really the only way to go for a long-lasting budget phone. There are also several alternatives. Now, personally, I use the Huawei P40 Pro as my main phone, which is a really fantastic phone. I really love the cameras on this phone. The battery life is much better than on iPhone. But the downside here on Android is, yeah, it is Android, and here especially without Google mobile services. So it was really a pain to get the Google mobile services on the P40 Pro. Now it's possible, I did a tutorial on that with my own solution on how to fix that, but you know, it's not very so user-friendly like on the iPhone. Now, Huawei tries a little bit right now to copy the ecosystem with the Huawei Gallery. They now have several services, they are similar to Apple, and I'm pretty sure that in a few years we'll see a huge competitor to Apple. But right now, I really have to give Apple this point. You guys have a really great ecosystem, and this is a phone that is very simple, will last you for a very long time, and won't cause you any problems if you can live with, well, the lower end hardware and the still not very cheap price. Alrighty guys, I really hope that you liked this comparison. So far I have to say, the iPhone 11 Pro is a really good phone. I really like it to use it from time to time. My main phone is definitely the P40 Pro, as I'm a content creator and the camera is fantastic. The iPhone SE would be actually a really nice choice compared to the iPhone 11 Pro, but the iPhone 11 Pro captures such amazing HDR videos in 4K with the different lenses, which I miss on the iPhone SE. So the iPhone SE will go back because I have actually no use for that. And the Google Pixel 4, well, I've used it for some time, but also I really need some more storage here, and the storage options,
while I would also go with a bigger version of the iPhone SE because 64 gigabytes on both phones, it's not really usable for me. Alrighty guys, I really hope you liked this video and a little bit of a comparison between all the phones, why I'm using which phone, and yeah, if you want to see more, please subscribe. Also follow me on TikTok because I've just started with TikTok, so would be cool to talk with you guys there. And I'm Steven from Tech Magnet, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a nice day and bye!